The local woman accused of killing her son and throwing his body into the Ohio River files a motion to plead not guilty by reason of insanity. The paperwork also says the attorney questions Brittany Gosney's competency. Gosney is accused of running over 6-year-old James Hutchinson while trying to abandon him and his siblings in a park. And it's not clear just yet when crews will resume searching for James's body. Local 12 was there yesterday after sonar and a cadaver dog indicated a body may be in the river. Gosney told investigators she and her boyfriend, James Hamilton, dumped the boy's body from the I-275 overpass near Lawrenceburg. The heavy rain means they'll have to wait until the river is safe.
With break.
Hello, everyone. I hope everybody's doing all right tonight. Oh, man. I'm going to put that out all the way. Okay. All right. So we got Katie 2. I know. Listen, I know it's late. Listen, this is what happens when you're the only reliable person at your job in your position. Then sometimes you got to pick up other people's slack. Some little entitled dipshit decided to just up and quit. So I have to pick up those late hours. And it just is what it is. Sometimes in life, I think it was Gladiator, the movie Gladiator. Russell Crowe's like, do you find it difficult to do your duty? And this dude's like, sometimes I do what I want. The rest of the time, I do what I have to. That's just the way that is, man. Hey. Kelly, Cosmo Zaccaro, Rachel Hudson, Mama Bear 0613, Janessa P, Twisted T, Cherry K, hey, Lokamai, Amanda Reed, Morgan C, Bobby, Rene, Mrs. R&B, Evelyn Arnaud, Siren Jag, what's up, dude? Leisha, it's good to see you. Shelby M, My Cats Own Me, that's real, dude. That's the most accurate handle I've ever seen anybody have. I don't know why my camera's playing around, messing up. It's real annoying. Maybe I'll just have to do this off camera. I don't know. Because my camera was not unplugged. And it's probably just going to keep doing it. All right. I'm going to try this one more time, guys. I'm going to refresh. Just take a second. Let's see if that sticks. Sorry about that, guys. But my cats own me. Yeah. I had a cat. Cats aren't so much like dogs. They're very lovable, very pettable, most of them anyway, but it's always on their terms. And you feed them, clean up their shit, and they do whatever the fuck they want. That's what cats do. It's pretty cool, actually. Makes you kind of have a certain respect for them, you know? Twyla, what's up? Phoebes Z. So, yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm real tired. But we have a few updates. Well, a couple of updates on some of the cases that we've been talking about. We got little James Hutchinson, 6 years old. His mother, allegedly after his mother's boyfriend, basically instructed her to abandon the children by saying, "Get rid of them." She took them to a park where they used to go fishing, and allegedly and this is her story, this is her confession. She drove off, and she got the kids out of the car. She drove off, and little James, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start calling him Little Hutch, okay? Because he seems like a cool little dude. He's a brave kid, and he deserves a cool little nickname. And frankly, I'm sick and tired of referring to, looking at these kids and feeling as sad as I do. I want to think of this kid as the little tough soldier that he was. Because I honestly see it as him trying to protect his siblings as well. This kid grabbed onto the door handle and didn't let go. Now, that's the only way this story makes sense to me, is this kid, because I keep thinking his natural instinct would be to let go as soon as he felt pain from being dragged. But allegedly, her story is he let go, and she ran him over. And then later on, she went back to go check on him. And they picked up the two kids and the other two siblings, put his body in the car, put him in a spare bedroom upstairs, his body. And then eventually walked into a police station to tell the police what happened. And they said that they dumped his body in the river. So just recently, as you saw in the news clip that I played for you, they were searching that river, and the sonar picked up what they thought was a body, and they turned up with nothing. And this woman, Brittany Gosney, her attorney her attorney wrote the judge, or filed a motion, I guess, to put in a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity in the upcoming trial. He's quoted in saying the defendant struggles to assist in her defense and counsel has serious concerns regarding defendant's mental health. His name is David Washington. So that's pretty much all there is as far as that story goes and updates go. But I wanted to explore that a little bit before we get into nasty, trashy Tecia. I want to explore this situation just for a second, because we like to speculate a little bit on these channels, especially when it comes to us being, for the most part, when it comes to the law, unless you're a lawyer, unless you work for a law firm, or unless you work in the courts in some way, shape, or form, the rest of us are laymen's. We don't really know how the law works, but we've seen these things before because we follow these cases. So we like to try to speculate on how this is going to go. Nobody here is Scott Reich, so we're going to do the best that we can. Now, if you remember before, when I played her arraignment, I don't think it was her arraignment, but she's standing in front of the judge, and she doesn't understand what her rights are. And she says it's because she has a learning disability. Now, the last time I checked, that doesn't count as being insane. So I wonder if he's going to try to twist that. I wonder if he's going to try to use having a learning disability as a reason to not be competent to stand trial. Like, how severe of a learning disability are we talking about here? Now, I don't know if that's what he's going to say, but it sounds to me like she's sitting there, they're talking, and he's trying to get through to her and explain things to her, and she's just not getting it. I don't, and I'm sorry, this is not a jab at people with learning disabilities. I have learning disabilities, but when did being stupid be a valid defense? Because, I mean, yeah. Is it insensitive to call someone with a learning disability stupid? No, yeah, maybe a little bit, but at the same time, it depends on the severity of the learning disability, and it mostly depends on how ignorant that person is. And to me, someone who has a guy as a boyfriend like this, sorry, my camera went out again, guys. When, someone who has a boyfriend like this and goes ahead and goes along with him saying to get rid of the kids, this is an ignorant person. This is just an ignorant person. And I'm not seeing the makings of someone who did this because they have some sort of disorder. You know what I mean? Something as innocent as autism or something to that effect. I don't see that being the case here. What I see is someone who's probably just skates through life making excuses, blaming others for their problems. The actions of someone, the actions of someone, these actions that we're aware of these someones, they sound like ignorant people. And when you harm children like that, that's something different. Because let's face it, even stupid people have enough of an instinct to take care of their children and love their children and raise their children to even be decent people. When you're just, let's face it, let's say you're the stupidest piece of shit on the planet. You know what I'm saying? Let's face it. The only thing that makes you a piece of shit is if you don't have enough inclination to love and protect your children. Stupid has nothing to do with that. Stupid has absolutely nothing to do with that. So, right, Rachel Hudson, that's exactly what I'm saying. I agree. And the reason why I feel comfortable calling these people stupid is A, the boyfriend has a record. B, she puts up with this guy's bullshit and is willing to sacrifice her own children to please this person. And I use that term loosely. So when you commit a heinous act like this, I don't mind insulting you and using insulting terms to describe you. I'm perfectly okay with that. So I'm hoping that the judge sees it this way. And you also got to look at it from now. This might be a win. Again, I don't know anything about the law, man, but I'm thinking that if she pled not guilty because they don't have a body, because let's look at the Joe Clyde Daniels case. The Joe Clyde Daniels case, the parents are like, well, not guilty because you don't have shit. You don't have anything. So they might actually get off. This is a huge gamble. I'm thinking. I don't know, but I feel like in comparison, it's a huge gamble. Now, they don't have little Hutch's body yet. They haven't found him yet. So I'm thinking that tells me that they actually probably did throw him in the river and they just haven't found the body yet. I'd like to at some point, maybe we'll do that another live stream where we explore that river and the conditions of that river, and try to kind of speculate as to what his body would actually go for within this period of time that he's been in there. What kind of trauma would happen. And I'm not going to lie, this is one of those times where I kind of wish I had that girl here. Because she used to work for a mortician, as I remember, and she's pretty well versed on that sort of thing. So it would have been, this is one of those cases it would have been nice to have her around. But I definitely want to explore that and find out, based on the conditions of the river, what type of damage that would do to a corpse, within the period of time that he's supposedly in there. But yeah, I this case, man, it really gets to me, man. I have a lot of trouble processing it because I honestly can't keep that image out of my mind of a 6-year-old boy with 2 other siblings right by him, realizing that his mother is abandoning him, taking off in the car, and him saying, "Fuck that. Where the fuck are you going?" And trying to grab onto the handle of the car and being dragged and run over. So this is a tough one for me, if I'm being completely honest, guys. But I don't know, man. I'm thinking, I don't know. I have no idea how this is going to go for her in court, because I wonder if, I mean, I'm that's why I feel like they're telling the truth, that they threw the body in the river because they're expecting that they'll find him. So the best defense is to go with insanity. Because as we talked about before, I'm of the opinion that an insanity plea in some way, shape, or form is somewhat of an admission of guilt. You're kind of saying, I did it, but I wasn't in my right mind when I did it. But you're basically, there's no escaping the fact that you're saying, I did it. So, yeah, this is, I feel like they've actually been truthful. But guys, remember, when this is another part of this thing that I'm overlooking here, when she took authorities to the alleged crime scene, law enforcement, detectives, investigators, they didn't find any sign, any evidence that what she said took place there. So I find that really, really strange. I find that really, really strange. Yeah, I'm having a lot of trouble with this case, man. When it comes to figuring out where it's going to go. I mean, it's even, to me, in my mind, it's maybe it's because I feel so disgusted by the thought of what this little boy went through. And it's the same thing with the Joe Clydesdaniels case. Both of these parents, it drives me crazy to imagine. But the thing is we don't even know what actually happened to Joe Clydesdaniels. When we hear the story about what happened with the father's confession, that doesn't make sense because there's no blood. And they supposedly took them, or he supposedly took authorities to, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 different places where he said the body was, and they recovered no body. So he's just fucking with the cops. And he's basically saying, you got nothing to pin on me, so good luck. But in this case, there's no evidence that the crime took place where Gosney left him, allegedly. There's no evidence. So why have, you know what I mean? But to plead insanity is pretty much an admission of that. It's pretty much, it almost confirms that. But it baffles me because they haven't found any evidence that this took place. If you drag a kid or run him over with a car, I imagine they're going to find something, some speck of blood, something. Yeah. So we're gonna get into that a little bit more as this progresses. This is crazy. There's so many of these cases that are going to trial. So we're going to have a lot to talk about moving forward, guys. Now we got nasty Leticia Stauch. So this is going to be interesting. So as we know, Leticia Stauch recently, now just to those of you who aren't familiar with the case, Leticia Stauch is the stepmother of Gannon Stauch, who she allegedly murdered. He was 11 years old. And this was in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I've covered this case a lot, so I'm not going to get into most of the details of the case, but from the affidavit that we know of, this child died a violent death. So I'm convinced that she's absolutely guilty. And the thing is this is going to be a slam dunk, in my opinion, in court, because she's chosen to represent herself. She's one of those people who fancies herself smarter than everyone else, but seems absolutely clueless. She seems the opposite of what she wants people to believe that she is intelligence-wise, and I find that fascinating about her. Now, there's a slight development in this case because sorry, I'm trying to find my my notes here. All right, so an El Paso County Sheriff's Office filed a motion for reconsideration after Judge Gregory Werner ordered the core of the case evidence be printed off and delivered to Leticia Stauch in jail. So Friday, she's in court, and she has co-counsel. She's I'm just trying to picture the scenario. This is what's distracting me so much, because I'm trying to just picture this asshole standing in a courtroom facing a judge, not knowing jack shit about how the law works and attempting to be argumentative. And this is now this is what's really funny here. So this judge, he orders the core of the case evidence be printed out so that Leticia, since she's representing herself, she can look over it because she has a right to see it. She has a right to see the case that's brought up against her. And there's 26,101 pages of evidence in this case. Now, only the core of it it's still 1,800 pages. So Leticia Stauch basically put her in a position. She put herself in a position that I find hilarious, because I picture her being like, I want to represent myself, Your Honor. I want to represent myself, Judge. I'm firing my lawyer. Blah blah blah. My lawyer won't listen to me. Blah 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 blah. And just being the loudmouth that we know her from that interview where we know how she could be, seeing her social media posts and comments, we get a very clear idea of the type of person that we're dealing with here, and that this judge is having to deal with, and that this prosecution is having to deal with now directly. This also means that she can call witnesses up to the stand. This means that she can call Landon up to the stand. This means that she can call Al up to the stand. Landon being Gannon's natural mother and Al being his father. She can call these people up to the stand. Now, can you imagine? This is a person that everybody just fucking knows killed this little boy. Can you imagine being this little boy's mother or father and having the person you know look you in the eye and make a farce out of the process that is getting justice for their murdered 11-year-old boy? Can you imagine? Because I can. So she's just going to make an entire farce of this thing. Now, the difference, the bright side of this is that it's going to be a slam dunk. There's no way, unless there's like a miracle that happens for her, she'll get off. Or unless the prosecution completely and totally screws up. But even still, if she completely and totally screws up, the only chance that she has of even really catching it, since she doesn't know dick about the law, the only chance that she has is that her co-counsel that's appointed by the judge points it out, catches it and points it out. But I wonder if this dude would even do that. You know what I'm saying? I wonder that's a question of ethics right there, man. It's a serious question of ethics. He's co-counsel, but like, if I'm watching this in a movie, if I'm picturing this being in a movie, I'm picturing a scenario where the co-counsel lets it slide out of just being bitter and knowing that she's guilty, and she's being an asshole and probably the most difficult person that he's ever had to sit there next to. And she's like, I want to represent myself. And he's like, fine, whatever. And he's already developed a disliking for her. And the prosecution drops the ball somewhere in this trial. And then the co-counsel realizes it, but doesn't say jack shit. And Leticia's just too fucking dumb to catch it herself. Right? I picture the judge being like, counsel, approach the bench, please. And then being like, why didn't you catch that? Or in my chambers, co-counsel to the defense, in my chambers. Why didn't you catch that? I sure hope you caught it or you didn't catch it. And it wasn't a case of you catching it and failing to speak up, because I'll have you disbarred. I picture some shit like that happening. The dramatics of a trial, right? And really what I hope is just going to happen is just going to be, like I said, a slam dunk. Just straight up, like, just house cleaning. Like Joel Guy Jr. That that trial was a joke. This guy was such an asshole. This is the guy who who left his mother's head boiling in a pot on the stove after Thanksgiving. Not this Thanksgiving. I think it was like 2017. I don't know. I have to look back at that case, but I don't remember what year it was. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of funny in the sense that, you know, man, how stupid is this person? But it's infuriating in the sense of, like, Joel Guy Jr., what he did, he just narcissistically wanted to waste everyone's time. He just wanted to just keep the shit going. He just wanted to just be disgusting a little while longer and piss off the court system and piss off everybody involved. Make things difficult. And I think a part of that, I think that's part of what Leticia's doing too. I absolutely think that's part of what Leticia's doing here too. Now, the reason why, hold on, the reason why this is becoming an issue is because she supposedly didn't have a chance to read these 1,800 pages or look over them. She never got them. And the reason why it was a good thing that she never got them, because she got an unredacted version. She would have gotten an unredacted version. So it's kind of a good thing. Now, while she says that the reason why she didn't go, the reason why she didn't read it is because she didn't want to go into the little library where she gets time to study, because remember, she's by herself. She's isolated. She's not around any other inmates. She's completely isolated. She's already tried to escape before. And so she is on a tight leash, naturally. And she did not want to go in there and use her time in the library that she gets. I have that here somewhere, but she gets a very limited time in this library, and she didn't want to do it because they would not take off her restraints while she was in there. So she was like, well, screw it, then I'm not going in there. Which I could see just being a very, very simple, just probably a very common thing with her, where she's just being difficult and argumentative for the sake of being difficult and argumentative. This is somebody who's gone twice to get evaluated because she's already tried to get the insanity plea and she's not getting it. They tested her to see if she was competent to stand trial, and she is. Twice. So now it's just, let me be as difficult as I possibly can. That's just how I'm seeing it. So it says here that it's not uncommon for pro se inmates. Now, pro se means a defendant that's representing themselves. It's not uncommon for them to have paperwork, but Commander Gillespie said the sheriff's office does not want a mess of papers inside of a jail cell. He said it creates hiding places for things like contraband or weapons, saying deputies have located weapons among paperwork in the past. So they don't want her. She wants to sit in her cell and be able to look at her case, but they're telling her no, because you're on lockdown and you've already pulled some shit before. And keep in mind, people, she also put a deputy in the hospital in an attempt to escape during her transport back to Colorado. we're talking about to say she's difficult is the understatement of the year. This is a wild animal, dude. This is a wild animal who allegedly stabbed a kid, 11 years old, shot him and beat him based on her charges, is what I'm guessing. So she used a blunt object, a firearm, and a sharp object used for stabbing. So it says here that the sheriff's office plan for Stauch's paperwork is to keep it in a secure lockbox, which will only be opened by staff to ensure chain of custody is not compromised. Stauch is currently allowed 4 hours a week in the library to review her case. Those are conducted in 2-hour sessions. So 4 hours a week. She did this shit to herself, and she was told. The judge was like, man, you don't know what you're getting into. She said, I don't care. I want to represent myself. So now she's got to do all the lawyer work. You think, I mean, type of one, if you think that she already regrets firing her lawyer. Type of two, if you think that she's bold enough to still feel like I'm doing this. Like deep down, what's your opinion of what she's feeling deep down right now? Since we're sitting up here speculating. That's interesting. I thought I'd see more ones. That's interesting. Caleb, always with the insight, man. Yeah, this is interesting. This is very interesting. Dumb enough. Okay. I hear you, Bobby. I feel like there's a part of her that regrets it, but the other part of her's too stupid to listen to it. That's what I think. The number two side of her is too stupid and stubborn to listen to that side of her that number one would be. It's not remorse, Victoria Humphrey. What I'm discussing right now is regret in firing her lawyer. Because, I mean, think about it. I see her as like a big fucking kid, you know? I see her as a kid who didn't think about it, saw too many movies, watched too much TV, and said, I want to represent myself. I want to represent myself. Right? And then and then they hand her an 1,800-page document, and she's just like, fuck. Y'all didn't tell me I had to read. This is bullshit. My co-counsel works for me, right? Why can't they read it? I totally see that happening. Yeah, I have no I don't have any expectation that she's going to walk out of this one. Now, she even got to put this Commander Gillespie on the stand. So she actually questioned a witness like an attorney. Says she only had a handful of questions, and one of which was asking Gillespie if he knew why she had refused to go to the law library for one of her 2-hour sessions recently. His response was that he believed it was because she had nothing to review since no evidence had yet been delivered. Besides approximately 1,400 pages, which were delivered without being redacted and had to be destroyed before Stauch could see them. I wonder how that worked out. So I guess in that chain of custody, somebody caught it and was like, "Oh shit, she can't see this." And this is where she says that she denied the visit because she's going to be kept in full restraints the entire time. So I'm guessing in her cell, she's not in restraints, but whenever she's out of her cell, because they're watching her so closely and because she's tried to escape twice, and one of those times being a very violent manner of an escape attempt, she's got to be in restraints if she's not in her cell. And she refused because she didn't want to sit there in handcuffs trying to read. I kind of get that, but if I'm on trial for my life, I'm going to be like, well, fuck it. If that's what I got to do, then that's what I got to do. So this also kind of clues us in as to how clueless she is, because when she's she didn't even know anything about. I bet you if you asked her about things being redacted, right? I bet you she didn't know anything about that. I bet you she would have looked at that shit and it wouldn't have mattered to her. She wouldn't have known that something needed to be redacted or didn't need to be redacted because she doesn't know shit about what she's doing. So this dude gives her the benefit of the doubt and goes, well, you know, because you didn't have it because the shit was redacted. So even if even if she had access to this unredacted 1,400 pages of evidence, even if she had access to this, she wouldn't have even gone into the library in the first place. She would have been like, well, I don't care because I got to keep my restraints on. So she actually refused to see the evidence. She refused because she had to keep her handcuffs on. So we're looking at what she's going to probably be doing this whole time is she's probably going to sit there and spend the whole trial making excuses. She's going to spend the whole trial saying, I'm not getting a fair trial. That's going to be the entire theme of her defense. And everyone who's been affected by this case has to fucking sit there and take it. I mean, that's an insult. It's an insult to the family. You know, it's an insult to us even. The people deserve justice. That's why it's the people versus Leticia Stauch. The people deserve justice for this crime. And all I'm thinking about is poor Landon and Al. Yeah, this grosses me out, man. Thank you for those blue hearts, guys. And again, man, those blue lights, man, they stay on at my job till this asshole is behind bars for good. So I'm going to definitely keep you guys up, man. Wow, look at that chat. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. Yeah, so this is just going to keep going. I mean, hopefully this will be quick enough cuz I mean, I don't think a jury, we have to also keep in mind that I don't think a jury or a judge is going to have the patience for this shit. You know? I just don't see it happening. So we will be talking about this moving forward, and covering this case. We're going to be covering the Joe Clyde Daniels case and that trial. We're going to be covering the Little Hutch case and that trial. But let's hope, man. Let's hope that the judge doesn't approve this. I mean, pleading insanity. I don't know. I don't know anything about the law, but like I said, man, it seems risky. It seems like a real risky thing to do. Before I go, guys, I'm gonna let you guys in on a little bit of good news. Out of nowhere, the Glarer's old friend. When I say the Glarer, I'm referring to the channel, you guys, me. An old friend of this channel reached out to me. And here I was, for some reason, I thought, you ever I don't know, I'm such an asshole sometimes, but I know I was an asshole. I know I was never an asshole to him, but I still felt like, when you text somebody and you both got iPhones and you just never see that number delivered. You never see the message delivered. And I'm like, did this motherfucker block me? Right? But it turns out he didn't. And he just ended up getting a new number and taking a hiatus from social media altogether. No more Twitter, nothing. But he reached out to me out of the blue the other night, and it was dope. And for those of you new to the channel, this is a friend that this channel made early on. His name is Colton Harris-Moore. And he is He's earned a bit of a name for himself. As a kid, he was known as the Barefoot Bandit and eluded the FBI and local authorities. As a fugitive, outsmarted them constantly, and in the process, stole 5 airplanes. I think it was 2 boats. Taught himself how to fly a plane. People wrote folk songs about this guy. And he is, if you're new to the channel, I have had him on this channel, I think 3 times. He's a fascinating, brilliant person. And hopefully we'll be doing something very soon, but I'm putting he has a YouTube channel. There's no content on it at the moment. But I'm sharing his YouTube channel in chat, so please subscribe to it. He's obsessed with aviation. And this is a guy who I look at, and he does not like to be praised for the things that he did, but he did them. And he didn't do them for malicious, horrible reasons, although people were still victimized, and he takes responsibility for that, and he's paid his debt to society for it. And he also paid back his victims monetarily for their losses. He made I believe it was a $1.3 million. He negotiated a $1.3 million movie deal with 20th Century Fox, which this movie has yet to be made. I don't even know if it's going to be made, and used that money to pay back his victims. And now he just wants to move on with his life. And he wants to be the best person that he can possibly be. Now, you look at a kid who made the mistakes that he made, but you have to think about the kind of person that it took to do what he did and get away with it for as long as he did and outsmart authorities. This is somebody with a very advanced level of intelligence. And he is an achiever in the sense that even from jail, he figured out a way to pay back his victims and atone for what he's done as best as with what was within his power. And he did this. Now he just wants to fly, and he wants to fly legally. And I absolutely respect and love this about this guy. I brought him on my channel expecting to hear possibly maybe a cocky, he's a little cocky. I'm sure if he hears this, he's going to laugh. He's a little, but not in a shithead way. He knows his worth. He knows what he's capable of, and he knows right from wrong, and he does his best to do right, just like any other decent person. And now he just wants to apply what he knows to contribute to the society that he lives in. And I respect the hell out of this man for that. And I'm really, really, really on a mission to help this man achieve what he can achieve. He has great ideas for aviation engineering. He's and even if he just gets to fly, why keep that from him? Why keep that from him at this point? Please subscribe to him. I dropped the link in chat. So please subscribe to his channel. He had some videos up. It's not that he hasn't made any content yet. As a matter of fact, he has. He just he took the videos down because I guess he's going to re-edit them or something to that effect. And it's not true crime or anything like that, guys. It's just about the stuff that he loves. And he's a very informative guy. And I think he's going to start possibly doing live streams maybe. But hopefully I believe him and I are going to be talking about something in the next couple days. Hopefully do something over the weekend here. Him and I, and if not this weekend, Monday is what we're tossing back and forth, but we'll see. But I'm really excited, and those of you who have been part of the channel for a long time, you know who he is. And if you don't know who he is, go ahead and Google him. But please watch my first video with him. And it's a long one. It's 3 hours. He talks a lot. It's nothing about the content here, but try to look at our conversation for what it really was, which was this is who the Barefoot Bandit has grown up to be. This is the man that this is who that kid, this is how that kid turned out to be a man. And I think when you know what he's done, I think when you know what he's done and watch this conversation and listen to him talk on things as passionately as he does, you'll earn a brand new respect for him. So I'm going to look for that. I'm actually going to drop that live stream in the chat because I want you guys to click on it, those of you who are new to the channel. Sorry, guys. Yeah, make sure you check him out, man. Actually, dude, I have videos before this one where I talk about him. That's how we actually developed our friendship. Was I reached out to him just to see if he was willing to come on the channel, because I don't consider myself a journalist. I'm not an interviewer. I didn't prepare questions. I had no intention of preparing questions. Someone posted his story in my group, was like, remember this guy? I had never heard of him. And when I looked into his story, I was absolutely fascinated. And I did 3 live streams talking about this dude. And then someone told me he had a YouTube channel, not this one. The one that he had before he took down. And it was just him filming planes with his phone and talking about what they are, because he knows planes. And they were just little 3-minute videos of him by the airport showing them take off. And so I commented on one of them and asked, and told him I got this channel, blah, blah, blah. Man, I was real green back then. And real wet behind the ears. I'm still a YouTube baby, I'm still a baby, but back then I was super duper green. And then he checked out my channel. And then he emailed me, and I was like, no fucking way, and I thought somebody was punking me. And then we got to talking, man. And like I ended up having a phone conversation with him, and it was just very, very organic. And then we set something up, and he came on the channel, and then we just kind of stayed friends after that. But I'll tell you, he doesn't talk to press. And I felt very privileged that he looked at my channel, and the way that he saw my channel, and he said this a couple of times on this channel, that he chose me to talk to because he knew that I wasn't trying to paint him out to be some sort of folk hero for what he was doing and for what he was known for. He knew that I was very interested in what he's doing now and what he wants to do moving forward. And that's what he wants to focus on. That's what he wants to be. That's what he wants people to focus on when looking at him. And I absolutely respect that. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and call it. Check out, just keep frequently checking out his channel to see if he's posted his videos up. And hopefully the next time I go live, I'll have him on with me. Hopefully. So, guys, I love you. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.